So, I always believe that a licensed physician should be the one doing all this.
100%.
A licensed dermatologist.
Yes.
In the US as well, it's been taken over by non-licensed people as well. Is that the same happening in India?
Okay, so Doc, this is a very controversial topic which I would love to address because, like
Good.
I said, I like controversies.
Good.
See, the point is, as a dermat, yes, we have the license to inject. Even people like plastic surgeons should be injecting. What concerns me, even people who are dentists for that matter, that's very controversial in India per se, like they are not allowed to inject unless you're a maxillofacial. But trust me, dentists are as good injectors as people who are MBBS or MDs or whatever. And the reason I'm telling you is because they explore the faces more than us. Okay. But it is not open to everybody. Not many people are very open to this concept. So, like I said, to each his own, no problem. If you ask me what I am against, are people who are not supposed to be injecting, like people who are in salons, in parlors. Okay, people are not even completed the basic MBBS, MD degrees or the BDS, MDS degrees. People who do not know the structure per se. You're playing with somebody's life. Just because somebody is throwing in extra bucks to you, which is cheaper, that doesn't mean that makes the injector a good injector or a bad injector. So I would say yes, having a certification, going to a person who knows the material very well makes a very big difference, irrespective. But going to somebody who's a non-medico to get yourself injected in India per se, I would say it's a line which I would not want to cross.
Can you tell me an example, patient example that you have seen?
Okay. Now, for example, like if you know, Doc, like in US and even in Europe and all that, there are certified nurses.
Correct.
There are licensed nurses who are injecting.
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, and these guys, they present on international forums. Okay. The biggest of big congresses they're present, and they're very well accepted also. So there's no issue in that. That's absolutely fine. But what happens in our places, what we have seen is, we have seen salons, beauty parlors, they themselves inject, Doc. So that is not something which is right. And I know what happens. And I've seen even professions, but I've seen people who are like non-MBBS doctors, be it BHMS, BMS, so on and so forth. And I'm not saying they're bad. Some are really good injectors also. But since they do not have an official license to inject, I've seen them injecting and I get calls like, late sometimes. But then like I get calls like, Doc Jeff, this is the complication come. I can see something blanching out of there. I can see the patient in extreme pain. Can you come and do something?
Is that right? So if it is not done properly, complication can happen.
So what happens, Doc, is when your patient comes to, I've got patients asking me like, Doc, is there any side effect to the filler? And yeah, of course it's a side effect to the filler. And they're like, besides, so today's patients know more than me and you, very honestly. They come reading ChatGPT and they are ChatGPT into infinity in knowledge. So they know everything and they come to test us and see like, is this guy going to give the right information or no? So they ask me like, are there side effects? I'm like, yeah. So can it cause any major side effects? I said, yes, blinding, straightforward. Arey, blinding? आप ऐसा कैसे बोल सकते हो? I'm like, if you go to anybody who doesn't know the material, you will get blinding, right?
So blinding means?
So what happens, Doc, is when you're injecting a filler in the face, for example, okay, the vessel is not like a pipe. It's just so fine. It's just few millimeters. When you're injecting these molecules inside, okay, the substance, it can just go and block if it enters the vessel. Sometimes if you go through it, you miss it, it's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. But suppose you're in the vessel, you'll deposit the product in the vessel. Now what happens? The vessel takes the blood forward. So when it's moving forward, as the vessel narrows down, it will start blocking that area. Now imagine you got cramps. How do you feel when you get up? You feel like somebody's stabbing you with multiple knives. Now this thing, the same thing happening on your face and it is not getting resolved.
Wow.
So it's uncontrolled, unimaginable pain.
Oh.
That's when we are supposed to immediately go and rectify it. If it is not rectified, the filler can retrogradely migrate into your orbital cavity and even lead to blindness.
It can go into the eye.
Yes, it can block the vessel which is providing your eye with the blood supply and you can lose your vision eventually.
Wow.
So there are documented cases. So
is there a case of blindness?
Yes. There are so many cases. In fact, about 1 or 2 years back, there was a case in Manipur which happened.
Wow.
I have seen cases that people have lost the entire lip because when you inject in the lip, if you cause a vascular occlusion, you can lose the lip also. So it can happen to multiple areas of the face. So that's why, Doc, like you said, I would suggest you please go to somebody who's qualified, certified. I'm not saying this as a dermat. I'm telling you as a person who will be a well-wisher. I care for the people who are going for these procedures because they just hop on left, right, center. They see, okay, fine, something fancy on Insta, fancy on social media and like some crazy stuff postings and good pre and post and they want to do it. And the people who are doing it are not trained, but they're very well trained to market it. So that's the reality which we're living in.
All right, beautiful. That's a wonderful explanation. So, a person listening to this podcast will have, let's say, they have concerns. They should understand that there is something called interventional dermatology. There are possible options available, and the biggest thing is that there should be a licensed person who's doing it. Okay,
Yes.
and then you are a trainer. You go all over India, and then you just train all these people to do interventional dermatology.
Yes.
So the good part is that you are training many people, but as a trainer, you will be the best judge to monitor what is actually going on. What are the bad parts that you're seeing?
Uh, there are multiple good parts and there are a few bad parts also. I've got two sects of people. Okay, one sect is, doc, I want to learn. They're just like hungry for knowledge and they will follow whatever you teach them. They'll follow up with you later on. Okay, this is my patient. This is what I've went through. This is what I've seen. And they're very happy with the results. And there's one more sect of people who are like, boss, I'm a dermat. I know my shit. You just like not tell me kahan pe inject karne ka hai. Don't tell me how and why. You inject where, you just mark and tell me where. So you have two kinds of people. So that is a dangerous section because what happens is when a complicated case comes, a difficult case comes, they are very stereotyped. They do not know the alteration, the variations, and they do the same thing for everybody. That is why you see from one particular doctor, for example, same lips, same face, same cheeks, same chin, same forehead. There is no variation. Sometimes what happens is because we have a degree with us, we are very overconfident that we know everything. And we don't want to learn or don't want to do the extra effort. People sometimes, they are a bit rigid to accepting knowledge, okay, understanding. Sometimes they understand and they're not open to implementing it. They are quite like, it's a very practical thing. If I'm used to seeing or driving in a particular way, no matter how my driver comes and teaches me, it'll take time for me to change over. So they are stuck with that same practice of what they have seen or what they have felt, and they feel that itself is right. So until unless they start improving or improvising on that particular aspect or the technique, there will not be much change. That's one more bad thing I've seen, negative thing I've seen. Another thing I've seen is people get too overconfident too fast. They feel like a filler can be done, it can be diluted. तो क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है कुछ नुकसान हो भी गया, we can manage it, no? But why reach a phase where you have to cause an accident when you can drive carefully?
Right.
So yeah, these are few things I see which I think we can improvise as trainers who train doctors or doctors who want to get trained from trainers. Like, be more open in the way you are listening to things. Okay, if you have your queries, get them forward very straightforward. Do not try and over experiment because you think you're confident. I'll give my example, doc. I did a patient, okay, and the patient got an eye drop. This happened, you can say, about 10 years back, 10, 12 years back. So I went to an international conference and I told one of the top doctors, I can quote his name to you. His name is Arthur Swift. So I spoke to him and I told him, doc, this is what happened to me. And this is the first case I got in my entire career. I never got, I'm very proud. Like, I never had this thing, but it's the first thing that happened to me. The first mishap. You know what he told me? He said, Jeff, you got the first case with a side effect because you have not injected as many as you should have. He said, the more you will do it, the more mistakes you'll make. The more mistakes you make, the more careful you'll be. So my advice is don't be reverse and without understanding the science, just create mistakes. Make mistakes if they're justified and if it happens along the way. And that's how you get yourself better. So yes, it happened to me also. It can happen to anybody. But with science, knowledge and patience, okay, and protocols, of course, I see a lot of improvement and I think that change is coming gradually.
Right. See, but I'm going to be honest with you. As a consumer, as a patient, how will I know which doctor to go to? Can you guide me? Let's say I want to inject Botox over here.
Okay. So what I tell everybody is you have the liberty, you have the freedom, you are the consumer. But like how when you open your Insta, you check everybody's views. Okay, you checked everybody's followers.
Right.
I see a very fine doc. I'm not an Insta person.
Yes.
I'll be very blunt with you.
You told
My
me.
wife is like a hardcore Insta. She's like, you have to be on Insta, dude. Okay, so it's like with a gun behind my neck. So I follow that. Okay, so we are like a team right now. So like I said, irrespective. So yeah, so like how you follow all these things. Like today's time, everybody when they buy a packet of chips, no, they know they're eating garbage, but they will go and they'll see, oh, so many calories are there in these chips, but they'll eat it.
Yeah.
The same thing when you're going to your doctor, please check what you are going to and whom you are going to. A dermatologist can be a dermat and a cosmet. A plastic surgeon is a plastic surgeon. Everything and everybody else address themselves as cosmetologist. When I say cosmetologist, a beauty person, a beauty parlor, a spa, and all the other faculties can associate themselves as cosmetologists. So do not get confused that every dermat is a cosmet and every cosmet will be associated to a dermat or be a dermat. So please dig a bit deeper, understand whom you're going to. And like I said, not every esthetician or not every cosmetic doctor is bad.
Yeah.
So you have to know whom you're going to. Please research a bit, check a bit. Don't just go by what you see on Instagram or Facebook or some profiles or somebody said it. Do your homework. It doesn't take more than like 30 minutes.
Right.